Hi, everyone. So the way I have structured this session, guys, is I'll try and talk a little bit about some of the experience and basically for testing of AI systems, what exactly from a testing professional standpoint, because AI is a very vast subject and there is so much happening in this space. But as a testing professional or as a quality engineering team that is aligned to test a AI system, there are certain aspects that are to be pretty well understood, at least to get started. And then once you get started, you'll learn a lot. But to get started, some basic concepts, some aspects of what I have learned through the going through some of these systems and understanding their testing, as well as towards the end we'll touch about the topic of explainability, which is typically very important when it comes to testing of AI systems, and how gray box modeling approach helps in helps in the explainability of AI systems. So with that, moving on to the next slide, Ramit, just confirm that the slide has moved so that I'm pretty sure.
Yes, ma'am, it has moved.
Okay, perfect. So as a when I was kind of getting started, see, AI is used so many a times interchangeably. Artificial intelligence, machine learning, deep learning, all these things, and then there are varied types of AI systems. So I just thought that I'll start with setting up this basic thing that helped me understand this pretty well, that what are the varied types of AI systems and what is the set versus subset versus all that. So when it comes to AI systems, one thing is that typically there are two classifications that are used in the industry: capabilities standpoint as well as functionality standpoint. So let's little bit start on the functionalities and then we'll switch to the capabilities. From the functionality standpoint, typically AI systems are categorized in reactive, limited memory, theory of mind, and self-awareness. And these color codes here that I have used mean something. So the ones that you see in the red background, that is what that has been kind of achieved in the functionality standpoint from AI systems. When it comes to the other two, there are certain aspects, and we'll talk about it in a bit. But it's you won't be getting to test these systems in the near future. Just let me put it in that way. So what is reactive? What is limited memory? It's pretty. So reactive is the most basic kind of AI systems. Typically work in a rule-based model. You put certain conditions. Based on that conditions, the system behaves in exactly the same way if those conditions are met. So this system is no different than I would say many of us have tested or quality engineered the rule-based deterministic type of systems. So reactive AI, you can kind of draw parallels to the rule-based deterministic system, generally having much more complex rules and much more complex outputs depending upon once the rules are met. But from at a high level, understand from testing standpoint that it is more or less testing any rule-based deterministic system that you have tested in your life. Coming to limited memory, most of the AI systems that you will get to test in the near future are, or I will say in a foreseeable future, are going to be in the limited memory category, which is basically what all we understand by the systems that we say they are learning. They are learning based on the model behavior. They are learning based on the past data. So these systems have a limited set of memory that basically uses the data from its past own behavior and learns and kind of adjusts its behavior as it moves forward. Most of the AI systems that you will see and even systems that are neural network, deep learning based, everything falls in the limited memory category. Theory of mind, again, I'll not spend too much time because, as I said, none of us mostly will be testing many of these systems in the near foreseeable future. But theory of mind, just once the AI system reaches a state that it can understand the emotions and of the user and adjust its behavior. And if I'm not sure how many of you remember in 2016-17, there was a robot, I think, called Sophia, and I'm not sure how many of you remember that it tried to it was somewhere trying to show some of that theory of mind type of capability. But again, right now, too much work in progress and in theory. Self-awareness, next level of AI system where it does not just understands the emotions of the users, but is also aware of its own emotions and things like that. Again, the whole I'm sure many of you are aware of that whole singularity theory and all that. Too far-fetched right now. Lot of research work going on, but we are yet to see systems that will fall in this category. So we shouldn't be worrying about this when we are getting into the testing for AI systems. Now let's come to the capabilities very quickly. Narrow AI, most of the systems, in fact, all of the systems that we will all be testing fall in the narrow AI category. What is narrow AI? Narrow AI is nothing where the AI system is capable to do a specific task in its full capability, something like human, almost like human. Again, I don't think so. We have reached a stage where AI has really surpassed the human intelligence, except for some cases where they end up beating humans in chess. But yeah, overall, the narrow AI is the AI where you will see most of the systems that you are testing for AI. They will fall in the narrow AI category, where the system is capable of doing a specific task in its full capacity. General AI, where the system is able to learn just like humans. So if I know how to drive a two-wheeler, I'll be driving a four-wheeler much easily, because so there are aspects that are touching towards that, like I'm sure all of you have heard about the concept of transfer learning and things like that. But again, these general AI type of systems, right now we haven't reached a stage where you see a lot of general AI type of systems that you will need to test. So focus on narrow AI. Super AI is something like a parallels to the self-awareness functionality, and where again AI surpasses kind of the ability of humans and things like that. Little far-fetched right now. So the focus of a quality engineering team or a testing team will more or less in your near future or foreseeable future will actually be towards testing the limited memory narrow AI systems. I think that's what the context I wanted to set using this particular slide. And then, yes, that whole thing of machine learning, artificial intelligence, deep learning, we all have heard these terms many a times interchangeably. What helped me, at least at my level, understand that how this whole fits is the diagram that you see on the right hand side of the screen, where so basically machine learning is a subset or a sub function. Artificial intelligence is bigger than machine learning, and again, there are once you start learning about it, once you start reading about it a lot, and once you start even working with some of your teams, you will hear a lot of I would say like statements that, oh, the systems that do not learn cannot be categorized as AI. But again, guys, for me, what has helped that machine learning is a sub function when it comes to the overall artificial intelligence. As we said, there are still a lot of systems which are categorized as AI system, but you do a little deep dive and you understand that they are probably not learning. They are configured, they are set up in a way that they react to a stimuli from an outside world and act in the same fashion based on a specific input. So that is where your reactive AI and those type of systems also come in. Deep learning, a sub-function of machine learning. Deep learning neural networks, for that matter. So basically this diagram, very simplistic, help me understand that, okay, which aspect or where do we need to test or what do we need to test. So with that, I'll move on to the next slide. Again, it's for a testing professional or for a quality engineering professional, it is very important to at least understand at a level that what will we be testing when we say that, okay, I'll be testing a AI system. It's at times it's intimidating. At times you are overwhelmed that, what do I need to test? So this will help you kind of understand that, again, it's not too complex, or it's not as complex. Again, I'm no way undermining the complexities around testing the machine learning and AI systems, but bottom line is you just have to segment it into the portion. So the biggest, and all of us know, I'm sure, considering you all are here, you have done some learning, or you have some understanding or a very good understanding of machine learning and AI. So data is the core aspect of any machine learning and AI system, and we all understand that. Now, the first aspect is going to be testing on the data sources, static, dynamic, and there are, I'm sure, it is, while the data can be huge in volumes, while the data can be very complex to start with, as far as we understand the basics of testing with data, testing of data sources and input data conditioning, these are the two aspects that are not going to be extremely different. They will be complex, they will be time consuming, there will be issues that we'll have to tackle in terms of volumetric sizing and things like that. But these are the two aspects that I'm not going to read through everything that is written there. Then comes testing of the ML or the machine learning algorithm, which is, I would say, again, from a testing professional standpoint, this is the area where you will need little bit deeper understanding of the ML algorithm, which is the type of, and we'll touch upon some of the, I would say, key consideration for any testing professional when you are getting into testing of machine learning algorithms. But this is going to be a little bit of, I would say, the challenging side of the testing of the AI systems. Then you reach a side after the ML or the machine learning algorithm is ready. Typically, it is consumed by a AI system, and there can be multiple different systems, applications, connected devices, web apps, or bots that are consuming these outputs of the ML algorithms. Now, understand it from a, like many of us and many of you, I'm sure, have do understand the concept of black box testing. When it comes to the side of testing an AI system which is consuming the inputs from the ML or machine learning systems, which is taking the output from the machine learning system and consuming it, it is generally like testing a deterministic system. And as you get more accustomed and as you start testing, you will realize what I'm saying right now. But understand this, that there is an application that has to consume some output coming from the ML algorithm, and based on that, do a specific function. As a testing professional, if you are testing just the part that the visualization part from the ML algorithm, you'll mostly be testing it like a deterministic system. And then obviously there are more complex systems with feedbacks and sensors and things like that. Right now, I think let us focus the whole rest of the session on the key aspect, which I said, the challenging side, or testing for the ML algorithms. So with that, I'll move on to the next slide. This is what I was explaining just in the previous slide. Maybe this is so typically, as I said, in the top side, you see applications consuming machine learning system outputs. Now, most of the times you will be testing these systems like regular deterministic systems, because your algorithm has already been tested, and you know that the outputs that are coming from the algo, or you are not trying to test that at the point when your AI system is actually consuming the outputs from the machine learning system. When it comes to testing the machine learning system, or the machine or the actual algorithm, it is, as I said, that is where, as a tester or as a quality engineering professional, we cannot say that, okay, anybody who has tested the software, or anybody who has tested the applications, yeah, it's just the same, or things like that. That breaks out here. So it is different. You have to have understanding of the algorithms. That is very important. That once you get into testing of a machine learning system, as a testing professional, if you don't understand that what am I trying to test, is it a classification, or is it a linear regression, or what is the kind of problem that this algorithm is trying to solve? Unless you understand that, it is going to be challenging to be able to test any of these systems. Understanding the data sets, that from a from a testing professional standpoint, understanding the various types of data sets that typically are used during the model development as well as model testing is going to be very important. So what do we mean by the training data set? What is the validation data set? What is the testing data set? Again, you will have to do a lot of your own learning, or aided learning and things like that. But training data set, the data set that you use to train your model, validation data set that typically the development teams that are working on the model are using to kind of validate the model behavior, tweak it, and like that is your validation data set. And then it comes to the testing data set, which is actually used for testing the model behavior. And as we start getting into this machine learning system testing, there are a lot of challenges. There are way more than the 3 that I have outlined here, but the top 3, in my view, as a tester, lack of data, that is going to pose a lot of challenges, and we will discuss in a bit the strategies to kind of help with that. But that is going to be a portion that will hit us like often, that, okay, I don't have enough data, or the data that I have does not carry all the scenarios or all the classifications that I'm trying to test, and things like that. So that is one challenging aspect. The second challenging aspect is, which all of us know about, the learning systems varying output for the same input context. When as testers, like traditionally we are like, okay, this is the input, so this is going to be the output. So I know it's like deterministic system testing. But when it comes with AI systems, with the context, as the system learns, as the model learns, it adjusts its behavior. So for the same input context, you can have a different output every time, if not every time, sometimes. So all that is to be understood, and that is one of the I would say the challenging aspect. Bias issues, I'm sure that I don't have to explain this. I'm sure all of us have heard about it, and some of us would have seen that how machine learning systems, if not tested properly or during the development stage, can very quickly get into the bias issues and start behaving in a way which is not acceptable in a normal society. So that those issues, it is a while I'm sure there is a lot of research is being done, lot of work, every organization is looking at that. But as a tester as well, keeping an eye on bias issues and making sure that the model that we are testing is not biased is going to be one of the challenge. So with that, I'll move on to the next slide. Now, this is going to be an interesting slide, little loaded, but I thought it will be important. And again, please don't think that in any way I'm kind of putting it as a exhaustive list of key considerations that every testing professional, once you know this, you know everything. Nothing like that. Again, based on my experience and what I have learned and experienced over the past like couple of years, I have been into this type of systems testing and seeing it pretty closely. What I have listed here is my I would say some 7 rules that or 7 key considerations that as a tester it is very important to understand. So let's start with the left side top. Underfitting versus overfitting. So as a tester, it is very important and when you are getting into testing of AI systems, to understand what is underfitting versus what is overfitting. Now, again, I won't be able to go too deep into that, but this is an area of consideration. Anyone who's aspiring for testing of AI systems and working in, not just testing, but working in this whole field, underfitting versus overfitting is a very important concept. What is underfitting? Underfitting is like your model is so underfit that it does not even work well with the training data. So obviously it is not going to work well on the test data if it is not even fit properly on the training data, or it is not aligned to the training data set. Overfitting is a reverse problem where you end up fitting your model so closely to the training data set that it is not able to perform pretty well when that data set gets bigger and you are in a little different context, and when you try to test the model behavior, it is too closely fit with the training data that was used to create the model, that again the model is not performing pretty well. So underfitting versus overfitting, very important concept. Everybody needs to understand it if you are going to test an AI system. Supervised versus unsupervised, I'll not even go too deep into that, because I'm sure all of you understand what are supervised versus unsupervised learning systems. But just for the just for the sake of completeness, supervised machine learning or supervised machine learning systems are the ones where you are utilizing some predefined classifications or labels, or basically a data which is pre-labeled to train the model, and that model is supposed to eventually classify or label the rest of the data in the same way, the way you have trained it using the labeled data. When it comes to the unsupervised learning systems, I generally call it training based on unknown and undefined. So any of your clustering mechanisms and like where you just give a set of data and let the model kind of cluster it or classify it or learn from it and give you outputs. That is what is unsupervised learning. And so typically as a tester, understanding the system that you are going to test, whether it is a supervised machine learning system, whether it is an unsupervised machine learning system, what is the algorithm behind it, all that is definitely one of the key consideration as a tester for AI systems. Accuracy versus explainability. Now, this is what we'll be touching a little deeper in the next few slides. But there is a trade-off, as they say in the AI systems, that the simpler machine learning models, the AI systems that are based on simpler machine learning models, like simple classification based on the labeled data, or linear regression, and logistic regression, and those type of systems, they are much easier to explain. The functions are much easier to explain. However, the accuracy is not as high as you get into little bit neural networks, deep learning type of models. The accuracy of those models is much higher, and it is tried and tested on the same context or the same problem, typically using a simple classification or linear regression, like a model versus like a deep learning or neural network deep learning based classification. The results or the accuracy of predictions is definitely higher in the latter. However, as you get into more and more complex models, the explainability of these models suffer. And when we say explainability, and there is always there is that confusion between being able to interpret versus being able to explain. So let me touch upon that point, because as a tester, again, you'll be hearing some of these terms, right? So being able to interpret a model behavior is like, I understand that if I change certain input, how the output from the machine learning system is changing. That is what you call being able to interpret. But that is not what you call being able to explain. Explainability is beyond being able to interpret the relationship between input and the output. It is more like understanding that if my algorithm is making a decision, why it is making that decision, or how it is making that decision, and what is happening in the model that it is resulting in this decision. So there is a difference between being able to interpret versus being able to explain the model behavior. And so this is going to be a very important aspect as a tester for a machine learning system, that you have to have that or find that right balance between accuracy, explainability, and many a times when we go to businesses, while they will definitely want a highly accurate AI system, they will rarely expect or accept a system which is completely not explainable. So having that right balance between accuracy versus explainability is going to be very important in a AI systems tester's life. I'll touch upon the other context, and I'm just, Ramit, just a time check. I still have 15, 20 more minutes. Is that right?
You have 15 minutes left, but
Okay.
you should
15
be trying
minutes
to
in
wrap up in
total,
next 5 minutes.
including the Q&A?
Yes.
Okay, I'll be then rushing a little bit. So very quickly, I'll take 2 minutes and touch on some of these concepts that are left. So many a times when you will work on AI system testing, you will be utilizing some of the pre-trained models or third-party components. And I'm sure, again, all of you are aware, there are a lot of pre-trained models available. There are third-party components that you can plug and play with into your machine learning systems and build upon that. Having the awareness of these pre-trained models, understanding and you will be responsible for ensuring the reliability, accuracy, and security aspects of the pre-trained models and components that you will be using in your AI systems. Concept drift, very interesting aspect that every tester has to understand. So typically, again, a very simple AI, y is equal to function of x, right? That most of you'll see that in your linear regression type of models. Now, this assumes that the relationship between y and x is kind of static, because we derive a function based on that relationship, and we say that y is always equal to function of x. Now, when you get into the real world machine learning systems and testing, you'll realize that that's not always true. With the time, or as you expand your data set, as you expand or test in a specific time frame, the changing data can impact the relationship between what you call is X and Y. So see, the output versus input, or the parameters that you are using to determine a specific classification for that matter, that output input parameter relationship can change over time. And then you will have to refit the whole F, the function that we are talking about here. And there are multiple approaches: back testing, back propagation, and coming to a stage. So you start back testing with the current state and reach a stage where you see that, okay, before, if I hit before this stage, my function is kind of the one that was derived earlier, but after this stage the function starts changing, and that will give you kind of an understanding that how long back to go in that data to retrain your model, or from which point you have to start utilizing the data again to retrain or refit your whole function per se. So that is again an important concept for all testers to understand. And then a lot of the times AI systems, I won't say a lot of times, but more often than what you do in your regular systems, AI systems are tested in production. So understanding the concept of A/B testing, understanding the concept of multi-armed bandit testing, and these are pretty, I would say, complex topics to discuss right now. But yeah, just keep in mind that you have to understand some of these concepts of A/B, multi-armed bandit testing, exploration versus exploitation of the testing results when you are testing the AI systems in production environment. Data augmentation, we discussed some time back that data is the key aspect, and one of the key challenge that you will hit as a tester is lack of data. So data augmentation techniques basically are the ones that you will have to use. At times you will be creating, synthesizing a lot of data, utilizing whatever data you have. You will be creating a superset of that similar data. Now you can create it for both volume or the diversity. So you want similar but lot of records, but and you are okay. Or sometimes you want very diverse records. You are struggling with class imbalance type of issue where while your system is supposed to classify in A, B, and C, and you have lot of data or labeled data for A and B, but you don't have much data for C. So how do you tackle that class imbalance issue so that your model is not badly trained? So with that, I'll move on to the next slide very quickly. Explainability, that is the thing that we discussed. As I said, I'll not spend too much time, but for any business to trust the outputs coming from the machine learning system that they will be consuming as a user or the business to make certain decisions, while they will expect a highly accurate system, they won't accept a low explainability system or system that you cannot explain that why it is giving or why it is making this decision. So being able to explain your AI model or the machine learning model behind the AI system is going to be important. And as a tester, when you are testing these systems, being the ability to say that, yes, I understand why this decision is made. And again, it's not going to be as black and white as I'm stating here. But yeah, having to build that trust on the machine learning algorithm, it is very important that that algorithm is explainable. So it will reduce the risk of bias. Your ability to secure your algorithm goes exponentially high if you understand what exactly or how exactly it is making those decisions, so that no one else can actually exploit that particular algorithm. So unless you understand what it is doing, it is going to be difficult to secure the algorithm as well. And then and overall the better ability to influence the decisions. So yeah, if nobody understands or nobody is able to explain that why so and so decision is being taken by the machine learning algorithm, typically businesses will be not too comfortable making a lot of decisions based on those outputs. So with that, I'll move on to the whole white box versus black box versus gray box. So most of us who have been testing for some time, we all understand what is white box testing, what is black box testing. White box testing, when you go deeper into the code, try to understand how the code behaves, what is the functionality, and you try to kind of peel the onion and see what is inside and test it accordingly. Black box, again, you test it just as the outside user of the system. You don't have any clue how the system is functioning, what it is doing, but what you just see is the output that the end user is going to see. Now, let us draw parallels with the modeling aspect or the machine learning algorithms. When we say white box algorithms, something I have taken a simple example, which you see as a figure down there. So basically a algorithm that is predicting the sales forecast for me using some sort of linear regression model. Now that is a very simplistic model. Again, y is equal to function of x type of model, where it is pretty white box. Once you build that model, it is very easy to explain. Everybody understands that, okay, with changing x, how does y behave, or things like that. So these models are highly explainable, lower in accuracy. As you take the same problem or the similar classification problem for which you were using a simple regression model to a much more deep learning type of model, the accuracy of the predictions increases. However, as you see on the right hand side, the figure down there shows a deep learning neural network. Starting from your input layer to multiple hidden layers to the output layer, the explainability of these models becomes very low. So while they are highly accurate, because these models are actually at a very high level, they are not just learning with the input, but that input that is filtered through each hidden layer, they are actually identifying more input parameters that can impact the output. So
Anjali, sorry to disturb you, but we need to wrap it up quickly. Otherwise we will not be able to even take one question now.
Okay. So okay. This is probably my next slide is going to be my last slide. Now, this is just an example of gray box modeling that typically, if you have a specific problem or a specific machine learning problem, you want high accuracy but explainable, I would say, system or the machine learning system. This is just one of the example of gray box modeling, as you will get. So what is gray box? Very quickly. Gray box is a model which is very accurate and is very explainable. So because white box, we said high accuracy, low explainability, black box, high accuracy, low explainability. Can we reach a stage of gray box, which is very accurate and highly explainable? So this model, again, I don't think so I have full time to kind of explain it, but typically you will come across situations where you will utilize black box modeling to actually take the data set or the data output from the black box modeling to train a white box model so that it has the accuracy of a black box model, but explainability of a white box model. So that is typically, and there are guys understand that this gray box modeling is a concept that you will have to do lot of understanding. There are various ways. In fact, testers and the model developers utilize the gray box modeling technique to come up with a machine learning model which is highly explainable and highly accurate. This is just one of the example, and I'm sure these slides are going to be hopefully shared and things like that. And I'm very sorry, I'm very quickly wrapping this up. So this is just the conclusion slide. I'm not going to discuss it. I've just flashed it here just to kind of everyone to see what we discussed and what we understood. And I just hope it was a useful session.